Choices, chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters all over the world. Welcome to another new episode of Life Choices. First, I'd like to welcome our guests, Mr. Ahmed. Hello, thank you for being us joining again. Mr. Muhammad, thank you for next time. And Mr. Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum. So, again, in life planning, and what is the importance to plan your life? I remember actually a saying of a very good doctor. I consider him a master of mine. I've learned a lot from him. He said that if there is no method or methodology to live your life, then consider your life wasted. And there are lots of sayings about strategic planning or how to plan your life from many, many wise people all over history. But I see that the fact we have to plan because God ordered us to plan, to prepare for our life. How are you going to serve the message of Allah without planning? So it doesn't make any sense if you didn't plan. And there is a well-known British saying said that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? So it's time to plan for your life on all factors and aspects of your life, for your relation with God, with family, at work, for your future, for your children, because we don't live for ourselves, we live for the next generation. We prepare for the next generation. And when we prepare, we have to plan. And when we plan, we have to plan well. So again, in Life Choices, we'll continue this episode and the next one on how to plan your life. Last episode, we spoke about an introduction on strategic planning and to a general introduction. Starting from this episode and the next one, we start with the technicality, step by step as a guide, how to plan for your life. So starting the episode with questions of my dear guests, Mr. Ahmed, Mr. Muhammad, and Mr. Abdullah. So when we speak of strategic planning concerning this episode, some people ask me, what do I need to know about strategic planning? And a friend of mine just asked me, I have many plans, but I don't implement any. So, and it picked up a question from my mind, why do people fail in order to implement the plan? We plan very well. Because in my opinion, I see that when someone starts to plan, they started to draw their dreams. And dreaming is something that's very good. We love as human beings, right?
Right, yeah.
But sometimes they crash on reality that they didn't achieve anything. So it became dreams on papers when we say about the language of business.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Firstly, I just want to say that I'm really happy to be here again because this program is really beneficial to me.
Thank you.
And
it
was just one episode, the last episode, and I learned a lot, really.
Thank you.
But really, sometimes you start planning.
Okay.
You write steps for achieving some goal, but everything goes awry. You find that nothing happens as you planned and as you wished from the very beginning.
Okay.
So that's my question. Why, when I plan, I plan well, but why does my plan fail?
Why does your plan fail? It's a very important question. Actually, Ahmed, I see that there are lots of reasons why do plan fail. Some people, they set many plans, many goals, many objectives, and then it became too many plans, too many objectives in order to achieve. Discarding that they have other challenges, like time, like commitment. Before we start the episode, we were speaking with a dear friend of us. He said that I have many plans, but I don't implement any. And why? Because simply, he set many plans, many goals. How and when are you going to implement these plans? So sometimes you need to have two objectives in parallel, and sometimes it's a must, fine, but you have to have the skill how to maneuver between those. More than two, it becomes very hectic. Why? Because you don't only have these plans. You have challenges like commitment, like time, like work. Some people, they have plans by education. They are educational plan. Educational plan mean that you need to achieve a certain certificate at a certain time. So some people, they say that I need to have one certificate, two, three, one finance, one accounting, whatever the certificate or the field they're working in. But the problem is when they plan for more than one certificate, they want to achieve it at one time. And believe me, over a personal experience, this is a complete failure. And I have tried it before. I was planning to achieve 3 certificates at 1 year because I was aiming a certain position before a certain age. And this is something you really have a problem with, right? But I discovered that I cannot do this. First, it will not serve me on the business level. I will not get educated right. Because something that everyone and our audience, you need to understand this. For your educational plans, they are not plans to have certificate. At the end, certificate is the paper, just the paper. You can put it on the wall in your office, and when people come to visit you, hey, wow, that's really good certificate. But you have to get the knowledge. How will you implement the knowledge of this certificate? For me, I have a very, very huge range of certificates, but I consider them as papers. Only when I implement the knowledge that I learned from the certificate, then I feel that I have the certificate. Some I took, but I didn't implement. I don't even consider them in my career. I take only what I learned from, and this is something really, really important. It's not just certificates in your resume or in your career life. You have to learn in order to serve, right?
Yeah, that's
if we take an example about this, the Holy Quran, and I find it the real ultimate example for this. When we start to memorize the Quran, not just to read it, we need to understand what is the Quran, understand its essence. Because the Quran, the Holy Quran, it's the method we follow. Steps, guidance. Sometimes we call it, it's your book that tells you what to do and not to do. How are you going to do or not to do without understanding?
Of course, you have to understand it first.
You have to understand. First, I know that you have to read it well, understand, and you start to memorize it, right? So if you get back again to your question, why do plans fail?
Yes.
First, you set many goals or many objectives at the same time. You are not realistic about its timing, and you do not consider the challenges, and you don't write it on paper.
Don't write it on paper.
Yes. How many times did you, Ahmed, wrote your plans on paper and put it on the wall in your room?
No, I write, but I don't put anything on the wall. I just write.
You just write it and just remember.
I have a kind of notebook.
Good.
I write my thoughts, I write my plans, anything I just want to do, and after I finish writing, I just close my notebook. Yeah.
Good. But how many times do you check your plans on daily basis?
Daily?
Weekly?
No, I don't do this regularly.
Regularly?
Yeah.
And you start to forget.
Yeah.
Because these days, the events are too fast. So you have to remember it every day. So the only way is to write it and put it somewhere where you can see it every day. I put it in my room.
Yeah, and especially with me, I'm forgetful by nature.
Everyone starts to be forgetful by nature. So because for our audience, we know that these days the events are very, very, very fast. We have political events, economic, and some challenges. Sometimes you forget to call your parents to check upon them, right? And it happens, right?
Yeah.
So if you forget to call your parents, your wife, your children, to check upon them, will you remember to check your dreams and plans?
Definitely not.
I doubt.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So you have to
That's absolutely right.
put realistic plans, has to be realistic, not too many, and it has to be realistic in terms of time. All right? If you do this, then I assure you that your plan will go for achievement.
Well, but I have got a question in this point exactly.
Sure.
Regarding the point of time,
Mm-hmm.
if it happens, but it's not on time, just a short period after, a short time after this, the appointed time that was that was planned for it from the very beginning.
Good.
Does it make it a kind of it's not successful? The plan is not successful when you don't do this thing exactly on time.
No, I wouldn't consider it so, because it will be disappointing then. Maybe you failed to do something. Maybe something external have came upon you.
Exactly,
and
this is
it
what I
prevented
mean.
you to do it. And this is something that we will discuss in today's episode, in something called SWOT.
Great.
We'll discuss it in details. And something else we need to mention for our audience. We know that anyone in life, they have phases in their life. And if we take it by age, we take it from the age of 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Of course, we live everyone to live long, but if we take it from 20, it has a plan. If we take it from 30 to 40, it has another plan, because there is different objective in life. If we take it from 40 to 50, another objective. 50 to 60, totally another. And let me tell you a personal experience about this. I have a friend of mine who already prepared and planned his life. By age of 50, he buy a property on a sea view somewhere. He chose Italy then, and continue his life starting from 50, 52, and end his life there. A very, very nice villa on sea view in Italy. No, how do you call it? The obstacles of life, the challenges, already done. He's 50. He needs to enjoy the life.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I really liked this idea and the dream. I loved it, actually. This was around 3 to 4 years ago. Because when you imagine that you have a villa on sea view in Italy, come on, man, who
What else
regrets
can I
it?
wish for? Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, this is complete failure.
What?
Complete failure.
Why?
I'll tell you why. When I think of the message of Allah, I have a lot to serve. I have a lot to give for the message. Because the message is not about you. It's about the message of Allah. I consider it very selfish. And by human nature, he will regret it one day, because it will be boring. It will be very good maybe for the first year maximum.
So it's like you're abandoning like any goals in life. You just live without any
You live
other
without
goals.
any opportunity or goal in life.
Ah.
Your goal will be turned then to swim longer.
But are
Maybe.
you sure? Are you sure he doesn't have like other things he's doing
Yeah, that's my
for the
question.
message?
Nothing. He just planned his life to have his savings, his financials, in order to live in this villa on a sea
So
view.
how does he pass his day?
Sorry?
How does he live now? How
He'll
does he
find
pass his
somewhere.
day?
His day is simply, this is what I know a couple of years ago to contact him. His day is just to wake up, sit, have his breakfast on a sea view. Sometimes he swims, sometimes he goes out, but it started to be boring. And then, what did he is trying to do now? To live somewhere else.
to buy a
He's
villa
just gonna keep
somewhere
moving.
else.
Just keep moving.
Mm.
And what is the objective in keep moving from a country to a country?
From a view to another view, from a villa to another villa. Yeah.
Maybe from a villa to a palace, fine.
And that means that it's getting boring.
It's getting really, really boring because there
Yeah.
is no objective. And I see the objective, it has to be ultimate.
So
The ultimate objectives keeps you busy and fighting for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So what you mentioned, like the age can define or like can tell me what is the appropriate plan for my age, like how age affects my plan for my life.
Of course, Abdullah, because every stage in your life is a preparation to the next one. If you are now in 20, for example, and you are preparing for 30,
Yeah.
so you are preparing for 20 to 25 because 10 years is very, very huge distance, huge time. But from 20 to 25, preparing to 30. In 20 to 30, it is preparation. You need to have good manners. And I believe that good manners should start from the beginning, childhood, like what Muhammad said last episode.
Yeah.
So it has to be preparation. You're being prepared. It's training. You need to receive good education, good job, good career, good relation with God and family. Because here we speak sometimes because my background and nature in business and economics, but we never forget the human side of us. Human side means your relation with God and your relation with Him. Those are pillars you need to stand on. You have pillars to stand on. And if a pillar failed, then you are in danger. You are jeopardized. Jeopardized to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll speak about these pillars this episode. We have 5 pillars that you have to maintain these 5 pillars. It's your life. So back again to your question, how your age affect your plan. It depends on the stage you're in. Because you cannot be at the age of 20 and your plan should be to be a hero or a CEO by the age of 30. Unrealistic. It's a good dream.
It's a good dream, yeah. But how far you reach it by the age of 30?
You know that I
question.
have made a good study about the age of CEOs worldwide. And the number should be an average. What is the average number?
Of CEOs age.
CEO's age.
In
40?
my
40?
45.
45, but not before.
Not before. This is the average. Some did before.
Mm.
Some did it at the age of 40. But the average was 45.
I know a 19-year-old CEO.
This is something
This
we
is some
can't
stories,
take
yeah.
really like Facebook.
Yeah? He's a
Right?
genius.
He's a genius. But this is not the most common. These are the
exceptional.
exceptions. And sometimes you should be guided by these. How did he did this?
Learn.
You have to learn because they have lessons in life.
Obviously, he went on a specific routine or a specific type of plan. So, I don't know which type
Mm-hmm.
of plan I need or what type he used, but obviously his plan was from the right type that got him to a CEO when he was at
Mhm.
the age of 19.
Good. So this is very good question because we have many types of plan. You have financial plan. Maybe you need to have a certain amount of money at a certain age.
The most important plans.
Sorry?
The most important ones about finance.
I
If I
don't
can
consider the finances are the most important one.
Okay.
After reaching age of 30,
Mhm.
financing is very important, but not the most important.
I think social plan is the most important. The more people you get to know, the easier your way is, like, towards your plan.
Very good, and this is by nature correct answer. It's excellent answer.
Yeah, it's
And you know
not.
why?
It's not all about money.
It's not about all money. Money
You know,
is
money
just the
comes to
result.
us. We don't go to money.
Exactly. And this is an advice to our audience. If you run after money, you will run after money all your life, and you'll never
Exactly.
get it. Money comes to you. And when we think of exception people like Steve Jobs, Facebook owner, Mike, and people who are like them, they never seek money.
Mhm.
And when we see Steve Jobs, he was Steve Jobs. He could dress the best suit in the world. He was just wearing this
Normal suit.
jersey and the jeans and the black high-neck shirt. They are not seeking money. And they became the richest.
Because they're seeking the future.
Seeking the future, thank you.
Or
They
success.
made the future.
Mhm.
And success. Money was not on the map. For me, I consider money as a tool to implement the plan. For example, achieving a certain certificate, because this is mainly what I seek money for. I have this certificate and this will cost me X. So I was seeking money for this, not for the sake to have the certificate, because the certificate will bring me money. No. And money comes along, believe me, over experience, it comes
It's
along.
just a kind of equation, you know. You when you work on your quality, to be something in your career and to get many certificates and to be something to be someone successful.
Yeah.
When you are successful, money it's just a natural result.
Okay.
This is what I mean. You are for example, you are a successful trainer, you're a successful businessman, and you have lots of certificates, and you are you're in a good position now, because out of your efforts, out of your working on yourself.
Yes.
So it's a natural result that you get money.
Of course, because I'll tell you what, Ahmed, when you just seek money, you make yourself blind of all other factors of success. You make yourself like this, and seeing money, discarding what is here, what is here, what is here. You start by time, forget gifts Allah gave you when you seek money. Money, running after money, I consider it running after hell, unfortunately.
After hell.
It will be boring after that.
Because when you get the money, what you will be aiming for
What's
again?
next?
So what?
More
More
money,
money.
and more money and more money, and you will find yourself at the end, you have billions in your bank, but
Nothing to do.
nothing to do. And it will be too late to discover this.
Yes,
All right?
exactly.
Good. So,
If you just mentioned about by the age of the CEOs like 45,
Yeah.
and it's to be like kind of not realistic to plan to be a CEO in by the age of 20 or something. So age and like ultimate dreams both together, and not to belittle my potentials to be someone like this.
Yeah, yeah.
How we can balance between these kind of factors? The
Well-
age, the potentials, to dream high and to be realistic at the end.
good. What is the title of our show?
Planning for your future.
This is the title of the episode,
Oh, life
Life
choices, yeah.
Choices.
Sorry.
right?
Yeah.
So, it will be your choice to be exception
Uh-huh.
or to be regular, like the most common at the age of 45. So most CEOs that they became at the age of 20 or 19, these are exceptions. They made their own. They made their own business.
Their
Right.
choice, yeah.
They didn't work in a company and they got promoted till the level of a CEO. They became,
They made the company themselves.
Yes.
they made the company,
Yes.
right? So it will be your choice to go for this direction or this direction. Myself, I sometimes choose the exception. And sometimes you find nature and forces, they put you in other direction.
Because
To be
everything
able-
is risky.
Sorry?
Everything is risky.
It has a risk.
So
Yeah.
whether you're gonna take this choice or this choice,
And you must accept the
There's a
risk.
risk.
If you want to be
Yeah.
successful, you have to accept the risk.
So speaking of the risk, risk is very, very important factor here, because I was just speaking about it in economics with one of my friends. We agree in the business, we have a common saying, high risk, high profit,
Exactly.
right? Same applies to your individual level. If you risk, and you have to be calculated risk, because sometimes people, they go, yes, it's a risk and let's go. But sometimes they really crush the wall. So it has to be calculated risk, and you have to know that there is a risk. All right?
Yes.
So speaking of the strategic planning itself, when we speak about it, some people, and like what we're talking now, we speak about it, but if we finished our discussion now and we start to go and implement, if I asked every one of you to write his strategic plan, I doubt that you will be.
because we don't know the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
We
a
don't know the
process.
process.
It's a
So
process.
if we get to know the process, strategic planning, and please, this will be displayed on the screen. If we please could have the slide of the strategic planning process. All right, so if we speak of the process, I'm sure, unfortunately, it will not be displayed on the screen, but let's take it by explaining the process. Let's say that you are in point A. Point A now, which is your current state. You are at 20 years old, or just or 21, you just got graduated. And you want to reach point B. Let's say point B at the age of 25. Good. So we have point A, point B at the age of 25. You need to reach to point B, right? Which is to be a senior position. married, in good relation with Allah, right? It has many objectives, and
Yes.
according to which direction you would like to go in, all right? Good. So you need to know what to do in order to reach this point. Then you have to do what? Get some information. If I want to be in a senior position, I need to receive some certificates and good education, right? If I want to be in good relation with God, I have to read more Quran, get closer to God by prayers, right?
Exactly.
And if I want to be in good relation with my family, I have to be closer to family, and closer by asking about them, making the
So,
family close.
Do we plan to have a good relation with people?
Yes.
Does that need a plan?
I don't consider it a plan, because some people really get to misunderstand this.
Mhm.
You need a plan to have a network or professional relation with people. You need to know this businessman or this instructor. But I mean the human relation with your family, with your friends. It has no plan, because it goes from heart.
Yep.
The plan is when it comes where your professional network. Yes, then it's a plan. But with your family, you just need to let yourself go with it, go with the flow. All right? So, in order to know what to do, you need to know your current state, what is your opportunities, what are your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities and threats. And this is what we call SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis.
What is it, SWOT analysis?
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Actually, SWOT analysis, for everyone sees us now, we know that SWOT analysis comes for corporate world, for companies. But actually, it could be for the individual level, for people. SWOT analysis is capitalized word, S for strength. What are your strengths now that will support going to point B? So let's take an example. You received good education. Your relation with God is very good. You take the prayers on its time at the mosque. You pray Fajr at the mosque, because this is a good indicator for me, right? Let's say that you have good amount of money. You work in very good company already. These are strengths. These are assets you already have now that will empower you to go to point B easily. Right?
Yeah.
Good. And then we move to the other part.
Weaknesses.
Weaknesses. What are your weaknesses now? Maybe you are not patient. You set many goals and many dreams.
There's a small problem though.
What?
Sometimes there's a small problem.
Yeah, tell me.
Sometimes you don't know what your weaknesses are.
Yes, that was
have
to
to
be my
identify.
question, because I've been
No,
asking this
it's
exact
not-
question in an interview. Like,
Yes.
what is your strength point? So I can tell about
Always in
myself.
all interviews.
Yeah, so what is your weakness point? So
Mhm.
I didn't know how can I just find my weakness point? Like, because sometimes you don't know what is your weakness point.
Yes, I'll tell you. This is a challenge. You have to identify it. And this is what I always foster when people, they start work early and get dealing with people at early stage of their life. Because then you start to discover your strengths and weak points. You know what God really made you special with. Everyone here and everyone in the studio, they have skill. Something that God gave them and gave them only. And they are pioneers about it. Some people know it and some don't.
It
Here
depends on
comes-
the personality, you know. So it's pretty important to take this for consideration, that you have to have this depth of self-evaluation,
Good.
to be able to evaluate yourself and to think about yourself. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? You know. But is there something that may help me to evaluate myself and to think about myself?
Sure.
What makes me strong? What makes me weak?
I'll get into the question of Muhammad, because you said there is a small problem you don't know. So it has to be discovered. This is the challenge itself. It will not come on you. You have to seek it.
But it's pretty important before planning that you have to know yourself before making any plan. What's strong, what's weak in you.
So
how to seek
If you
it?
don't know,
How to seek it? You said like you have to seek it.
how to seek it is how to know it. Comes by your interactions with others. This is why I always prefer working in early stage of life, because this makes you to discover it early. You discover it by the course of life.
So
The earlier is the better. How will you discover it if you don't practice? It's like football. How will you know that you got a good player if you didn't get to the field and have the ball? Right? So speaking about this and speaking more about the SWOT analysis, we'll continue. We'll go for a short break, then we come back to continue about the SWOT analysis and the strategic planning process in order to know step by step how to draw complete a strategic plan for your life. Again, this is strategic plan age specific or age related. So it will be from your age from 20 to 30, and we'll go forward from this episode and the next. So we'll go for a short break, and after the break we'd like to receive your calls and your interactions with us to say your comments, your opinions, and your personal experience about planning for your life. So we'll go for a short break and come back. So please don't go anywhere. Welcome back again to part 2 of our life choices and continuing with the strategic planning and SWOT analysis. Welcome back again. I would like to welcome back again with my guests. So we would like to receive your calls and the numbers displayed on the screen and have your thoughts, comments about this episode and your personal experience about planning your life. So continuing again with the strategic planning, and we were on the part of SWOT analysis.
yeah,
We said that you have strength and weakness and how to discover them, right? Strength and weakness are things in your hand to control and do. You have control over. It's in your hand, right?
yeah,
While you have the other side that are threats, that something comes over you that you cannot control, and you have the opportunities, something we can say you have it from the sky. It's an
By
opportunity
luck.
by God. Good. And by the way, you get closer to God, the more opportunities you get. And the more you work, the more opportunities you get. We can say that opportunities are the gifts. So you need to spend effort in order to get a gift.
or at least to seize the opportunities when it comes.
And seek. Thank you for this, Abdul. And seek the opportunities. Right?
and this in itself, it's a strength.
It's a strength to seek. Thank you for this. Very correct. And so, because if we need to read more about SWOT analysis, because many articles have been written about SWOT analysis, you can Google it or have it over YouTube. You will find it. It's like a box that are divided into 4 parts. On the up or the left, you will find that the strength and weakness. And these are the things that you can control. You have it in your hand in order to make it good, better, or bad, right?
Right.
And then you have on the right or the lower part, it depends on the schema. So it will be the things, the good and the bad, but you don't have control over. So if we take an example about opportunities, what could be? I consider it, for example, like receiving a scholarship,
Yes.
a new job offer,
Yeah.
waking up by your own and not suffering when you wake up to pray before Fajr,
Right. Yes. Of course, it's an opportunity.
right?
Yeah.
So these are opportunities. And speaking of the threats, revolution in a country, there's something negative or bad that you cannot control.
And some health threats that you
Health.
can't control.
Threats. Thank you for this. La qadr Allah, for example, an accident, maybe. Very bad economic situation, financial crisis like the one we had in 2008. Right?
Yeah.
So now people made something that is really innovative, and I consider it, it's like anticipating or forecasting. They forecast threats. what is the probability of this to happen? And they call it sometimes another technique called what if scenario. What if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened? They continuously say what if, what if, what if. And they think together. It's like brainstorming. Right? So when you complete your SWOT analysis for your own, you have your strength and you have to maximize it, because strength is a kind of pillar. You have to maximize it in order to get the benefit of. When you have a weakness, you have to shore up. Right? When you have opportunities, you have to take it. In the business, we say it, we have to invest. But for us here, we say that you have to take the opportunity, never let it go. Right? And when there are threats, you have to come over. And this is a huge challenge. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So after you know your SWOT analysis, now you know if you will be able to go for point B or not. Of course, at the end, you will go if you have the will. And if you have it here, it comes from here, you will have it. And you will achieve it.
All right, I just need to ask about something.
Something.
So this kind of analysis, this SWOT analysis, is it the first step of your plan, or
No, the first
where
step.
is it exactly in the plan? Now I have my own plan.
Mhm.
This kind of analysis, where is it exactly?
So it comes as point number 2 or step number 2. Sorry, 3. Because you have to identify point A, which is your current state, point B,
The
which
objective.
is the point that you need to reach, and
objective.
how you will do this by doing the SWOT analysis.
Great.
The SWOT analysis is a juice maker. It gives you data to know how are you going to reach point B and what could be the challenges. If we take it by the driving example, you need to drive from here to X station. You might have challenge like bad traffic, right?
Yeah.
This is a challenge. We can say this is a threat, right?
Yeah, it's a threat.
Not in good condition to drive, right? So it gives you data about how will you or how difficult reaching point B, or how easy maybe, right?
Yeah.
So after you know this, you have to make it by time and date, because you cannot let your plan go with the flow. If we take, for example, you need to memorize the Quran, for example, not the whole of it, part.
Yeah.
So you need to set a date. By end of Q1 year 2015, I'll be memorizing part 1 of the Quran.
Yeah.
It has to be dated, because if it is not dated, you cannot measure if I did or not. Right?
Yeah, because time management is a part of the plan.
Exactly. And something else over my experience I'd like to add, is something that you will not read in books or something. You have to have some individual support. People to support you, your network, your family. Because people they are into two types. Your family and your friends, your belongs, and your professional network. People, they support you in business. You see them just for business, right? Some of them, they could be friends, but mainly it is your professional network. Because sometimes you will depend on someone to accomplish you something or help you accomplish something.
Yeah.
Like knowing, for example, a doctor to guide you, be your mentor. By the way, you really need to have a mentor in your life, a guide, someone to talk to and trust his words. And this is a critical success factor, because whatever he or she will tell you, sometimes by nature you will follow. So make sure, please, that you have the right mentor for you. All right? So now we got the strategic planning process and how to do it step by step. Right?
You said
Muhammad.
when you're going from one point to reach the other point,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna find challenges.
Yes.
What if you don't know the challenges? Like, for instance, the protests that have been happening,
Mm-hmm.
or how are you gonna overcome this? Something that's in the whole country,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't do anything about it.
So this
Something
is
you
why
can't
we
control,
said,
basically.
of course, and thank you for this, but this is why we said sometimes people, they forecast the threats, and you have to come over. if you were not be able to come over like a protest or revolution in a country, so it has no disappointment not to achieve your plan because something out of your hand, right?
Yeah.
So we have a call from who? So Mahmoud from Egypt. Yes, welcome. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I would like to thank you first for this interesting program.
Thank you, Mahmoud.
And I have a question,
Sure.
if I may.
Yes, of course.
Actually, I am a PhD student,
Yeah.
and I am in the process of writing my proposal. And unfortunately, I have to work like 7 days a week.
Okay.
And I have other plans as well, like I want to improve my language skills, and I want to improve my personal development skills as well. And sometimes I get stuck, and I don't know how to manage to achieve my plans. At the same time, I keep up with my other commitments, like family commitments, work commitments, because as I have just said, I have to work like 7 days a week. So just I'm wondering if you could give me a piece of advice that how can I balance my work commitments, my family commitments with my personal development plans as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahmoud. Thank you. We'll be answering you in this episode. But before we get the answer, because you really have a good, important question. So, if we take Mr. Ahmed, what are your comments about this? Because we discussed something very similar that our friend Mahmoud was asking.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just have a question. I
Of
have
course.
another question.
I'm ready to answer.
Yes, because he has lots of goals, and he has to make this analysis,
Too
SWOT
many.
analysis.
Mhm.
He has too many plans, and he has too many commitments. So he has to start with this kind of analysis, because I think he likes this step.
SWOT analysis.
Yes.
Thank you. And Abdullah, what do you think about it?
About it, it is exactly like you have to select what is most important just to go for. Because
Good.
if you're looking for a PhD, which is you think it's something big for you, for your future, for your life,
Good.
for yourself, so you gotta have a compromise between work, personal development. If you think like language skill is
Good.
most important than the PhD study, or your personal development, like your family thing, so you can just make a compromise between all many things. As you said, it's gonna be difficult to balance between these many things.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very valid answer.
And if I just can ask, like after I answer his question
Yes,
about
sure.
it, yeah. If I'm going to make a balance between all this, how can I set my goal actually, or how if I set my goal, like how can I set it? And if I do set it or select my goal, how do I know is it an excellent goal or not, or like it's worthy
All right.
to be planning for or not?
Sure, I'll tell you after I answer the question of our
Please.
friend Mahmoud. So Mahmoud, simply you got many and too many goals. You're making your mind busy with lots of plans. You know, when you go for a plan, it's like driving in a lane. You cannot drive in many lanes at the same time. You have to choose, and as our dear guest Abdullah said, you have to prioritize. What is the most important to you, the proposal for the PhD or other study? And again, you need the SWOT analysis, as our dear guest Ahmed said, because it will tell you what skills you already have that will enable you to maneuver these plans. My personal advice, you need to prioritize what is important and what is the most important and go for it. Too many at the same time, unfortunately, the probability for it to work is very weak. I hope that we answer your question, Mahmoud. And we would like for all of the our program and all our friends to share your thoughts on the telephone displayed on the screen. Your thoughts, questions, I'm here to answer all of them. So if we get back again to the question of my dear guest, Abdullah. Your question was, how can I set my goal, right?
Yes, that's first.
And how to
And
make
after,
sure.
and if I did, hopefully, how do I know, is it like the good, like an excellent goal or not? Is it worthy or not
Good.
after I set it?
Sure. Quickly, because setting goal, it has a criteria. And the criteria called SMART criteria. And SMART capitalized word. SMART stands, the S stands for specific. If we take it, a goal for our friend Mahmoud, specific, which means that he has to choose the PhD or something else, who comes first. So it has to be specific.
Yeah.
Good? M, we call it measurable. How will you measure the success? For the PhD, to get the PhD or not? It's very simple.
So specific, let's say like PhD or not.
Yes.
And then measure
PhD or any other field in his life.
Yeah,
Like
measurement
the language thing.
Yeah, measurement like to measure how I'm going to read or how important is it or.
No, measure is how to measure if you succeeded or not.
Uh-huh.
So called measure.
Yeah.
Good? Or measurable. And then SMA for actionable or attainable. It has to be something realistic. Right? And then the letter R, because we are smart, R is called what we, because the criteria differs from something to the other, responsible. Sometimes when you have support by people, it will tell you who to do what. But for the individual level, because you will do everything, so it has to be a responsibility. You have to be responsible for doing this. Right? And the last letter is the T, time frame. You need to finish it within a certain time. For our friend Mahmoud, maybe he needs to finish the proposal of his PhD by end of next December. So he has a line that he cannot cross. By December 2014, has to be finished. And finished with good quality, finished with success, not just to finish. Finish.
Inshallah.
And in business we call it defect-free product. Defect-free product. The mistakes are very, very few mistakes. The quality of the work he did. And good luck, Mahmoud. Proposal for PhD is something really, really difficult, but it's worth it. Good luck. So, Mr. Ahmed.
Yeah, I have a point to tell Brother Mahmoud that the goal is just like someone who pulls you. So you have too many goals. You have goal from here and goal from here and goal from here. So all of them pulls you to, you'll be shattered at the end.
Shattered, and I'll tell you what, because this is what we are going to be discussing more in the next episode. And until we come there, we will go further by this. So because our time is up, so first I would like to thank our guests, Mr. Ahmed,
Thank you,
Mr. Muhammad, and Mr. Abdullah.
Thank you very much.
And of course, everyone watched us all over the world. Thank you so much, and thanks for Mahmoud for his comments and questions. So see you next episode. It's going to be continuing to planning for life and using strategic planning to plan your life. So we'll be waiting you next week. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum.
Dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man.